On today's show, we're looking at an ESPN mock draft for your Arizona Cardinals. They just dropped a 2-round mock, so we got a couple picks to look at for Arizona. One of them involves a trade, so get ready, gear up, buckle up for this, because I'm ready for draft season. It's a lot of fun, especially if your team is picking high, which you don't want to be the case always, but it makes it that much more exciting. And if you want the Cardinals to absolutely crush the 2026 NFL Draft, like the video right now if you want them to hit on all their picks, turn this thing around quick, then tap the like button. I know I'd be smashing it here because I think the Cardinals can really do this faster than people realize if they smash the draft and free agency. So welcome into Cardinals Today, everybody. I am your host, Joey O'Donohue, and without further ado, let's dive into ESPN's mock draft for the Cardinals. I'm going to show you the first two picks in the mock draft, so you know who's available for Arizona when we get to pick 3. Number 1, I think every mock draft in the world right now has Fernando Mendoza becoming a Las Vegas Raider first overall. And then the New York Jets, likely going to go edge now. Arvell Reese still TBD if he wants to be a linebacker or edge, but he's versatile. He can do both. And ESPN says New York will take him at 2, which means at 3, Arizona lands David Bailey, Texas Tech University edge rusher, to come on over, join that D-line, and start wreaking havoc. And so here is exactly what Jordan Reid, ESPN draft analyst, had to say about this pick for Arizona. Edge rusher Josh Sweat performed well in his first season in Arizona with 12 sacks, but he needs a running mate. The Cardinals could pair him with Bailey, who is the most productive pass rusher in this year's class. Bailey had 14.5 sacks for Texas Tech last season, which tied him for the FBS lead, along with 19.5 tackles for loss. He's a quick accelerator out of the starting blocks, and his first step allows him to race past blockers with ease. Bailey is relentless, creates negative plays, and is able to rack up sacks in bunches. All right, this is an interesting selection here for Arizona. Let's talk about it. I do think Bailey is an absolute stud, right? You can look at the numbers. You can look at some of the tape. He's obviously a very good, experienced, talented football prospect. By the way, his 20.2% pressure rate, it was best in the nation in 2025, despite being lower than it was in 2024 at 22.2%. In 2023, 22.1%. I mean, the guy's a stud. He's a baller. Now, Texas Tech, elite defense. There's a lot of help over there, but he's an experienced pass rusher. Played at Stanford for multiple seasons as well, and this is when he balled out coming here to get 14.5 sacks at Texas Tech. And so, he's a good tackler as well. Like, he is versatile. 19.5 tackles for loss last season for David Bailey, too. And the way he's tested at the Combine, for the most part, has been impressive. Take a look. His 40-yard dash, I think, stood out to everybody. He ran a 4.5. I mean, that's phenomenal for an edge rusher his size. It's faster than Antonio Cromartie was. 10-yard split, 1.62 seconds. To compare that to another fast guy, Devontae Adams, did it in 1.64. Vertical jump also off the charts, 35 inches, higher than A.J. Green's was. Broad jump, better than Adrian Peterson's. These are some comparisons. They don't necessarily mean everything, right? You're hand-picking guys, but it does show that David Bailey is impressive in a lot of these different combine drills. But one that maybe he wasn't as impressive was the change of direction one. He started slipping, okay? Literally falling over. This worried me a little bit. It did. I started to, is he a little too big? Not maybe as quick as he is fast. And the concerns definitely rose from this photo. But I do think overall, if you're sitting there at 3 and you're not trading down, it's a good pick to get David Bailey, who's probably a surefire hit at the edge rusher position. Some people in my comment section, they don't like Arvell Reese, I see. They're worried about him. That's fine. David Bailey seems to be one that you will take. Reuben Bain, you could argue as an edge, but they're always saying he's got small arms, So David Bailey seems like the edge to go with if that's what you're going to do. And I do think you need another edge in Arizona. And again, just to throw a quick devil's advocate argument out there, O-line should be your focus this offseason. Or Jeremiah Love. Do you want to go offense top 3? Love's a surefire hit. I promise you that, okay? The thing is positional value. Safety and running back. Caleb Downs, Jeremiah Love. 2 best players in the class, I bet. Are you going to take them at pick 3, though? And this is where you start playing that game. You start dancing around. And I want you to be the GM in the comment section. Should the Cardinals draft Bailey at pick number 3? Type Y for yes. Type N for no. Give me a letter in the comment section down below, Cardinals fans. All right, next in the mock draft from ESPN, trade alert. The Cardinals are not sitting pretty in the second. They're like, let's move back into the first. They take the Houston Texans 28th overall pick in this year's draft, and the Texans get the Cardinals' second-round pick, 34, and also a fourth, 104. That is where Cardinals are sitting in that fourth round. So you're giving up a little bit. Why are they doing this? Well, ESPN thinks that the Cardinals are going to draft quarterback Ty Simpson out of Alabama, 6'2". Could he really be the Cardinals quarterback in 2026? Look, some of the numbers last season for Ty Simpson, they do impress. 28 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, right? I don't know that I'm sold on Ty Simpson as a franchise quarterback, though, okay? We got to talk about him and his game a lot here, but why is this happening? ESPN thinks it's because of this. With Kyler Murray's days in Arizona seemingly numbered, the Cardinals have a lot of quarterback questions. So I have them trading back into the bottom of the first round to acquire their quarterback of the future. Simpson is a perfect fit in new coach Mike LaFleur's offense. Simpson operates well off play action, but makes his best throws in the short and intermediate areas. His lack of starting experience, 15 starts, makes him a bit of a risk here, but Arizona still has veteran Jacoby Brissett for another year to serve as a bridge until Simpson is ready to be the QB1. It's honestly a terrible take to end that quote, honestly. That was really stupid. But basically, Ty Simpson needs talent around him. I think he is the definition of a system quarterback. If you're going to, the reason I just called that stupid, if you're going to have Jacoby Brissett be a bridge quarterback, then just draft a QB in 2027. The quarterback class in 2027 is so much better than the 26 class. It's not even close. The only reason Simpson is being talked about as a first rounder is because there's nobody else. But Dan Orlovsky, NFL analyst, said that Ty Simpson's tape through the first 8 games of the college football season were better than Fernando Mendoza's. I think ESPN's trying to create some buzz here because this is a no quarterback race. We know Mendoza's going first overall. And there is a point to be made about the lack of Simpson's experience. You know, only 15 games played in college, or last season really as a starter. And look, some of them were impressive. Obviously, there was a drop-off from the first 8 games too, though. Like, yeah, it did start out pretty great, but then it dropped off. And so I'm a little bit torn here, all right? Like, I'm intrigued because I think with LaFleur and the Cardinals' offensive weapons, like, there could be a system on offense. There could be. Maybe he could make Simpson into what Stafford was for the Rams under Sean McVay, right? When LaFleur was the OC over there. So the thing with that is you need to fix the offensive line. I'm not going to sit here and say the Cardinals have the system for a quarterback like that to succeed when the offensive line's not fixed yet. That's why a lot of mock drafts have the Cardinals taking Maui Noah with the 3rd pick, which is a reach for him as the best player in the draft, but positional need, that's when you start reaching on tackles. You're not going to get tackles later in the draft. They always go higher than you think they will. And this year's quarterback class isn't great. This is what I've been saying. Outside of Mendoza, there's nobody else, right? Like, I would even maybe consider, do you take Drew Aller if he falls to the 5th round? Guy's 6'5", got a rocket arm. And it also needs some development, but at least you're not investing a first-round pick as you would be with Ty Simpson. And not only that, you're trading up. It's not even the first that you have. So I'm torn here. I would need to see the Cardinals fix up this offense. But I'll tell you what, Ty Simpson himself is pretty fond of playing for the Cardinals. And producer Ethan, you could actually take the lower third off of the clip you're about to play so that the fans can take a full listen to Ty Simpson. Let's toss it over to the quarterback. What do you think of playing for the Cardinals?
Yeah, I met with the Cardinals. This was my first interview, and just super great organization. You know, Mr. Monty is a great guy. You know, Coach LaFleur is a super ball guy. Coach Hackett, all those guys are they love football. They're a quarterback driven organization because they're very familiar with the quarterback position. And I would love to be a Cardinal. I think that they're a great organization. They got a young team, and I'd be super blessed to play for them.
I could see this happening. I mean, the way they talk about it, I really could see the Cardinals going out and getting their quarterback here with Ty Simpson, the second-best QB prospect in the draft, because who else are you going to get? Where is the other option this season and off-season and in the draft? There's really not many, as I've been saying, unless you go late, which I kind of do like the idea of. But I've got questions about Ty Simpson being a franchise quarterback. Other people do, other people don't. Ty Simpson's going to try to put those to bed. Take a listen to this response from the Bama QB.
Yeah, first off, right, I feel like I'm ready. I'm a franchise quarterback. Like I said earlier, like the Alabama is, prepares you most for the NFL. And with the infrastructure that they had, and the guys from Coach Saban, Coach DeBoer, Coach Grubb, all the coordinators that I had before, I run an NFL type system. It's definitely prepared me for saying those long play calls, saying those checks, making sure that I get us in the right protection, and also as well, right? Like everybody talks about my starts, but I played in other games besides that, and I've played against really good NFL players. I think about my freshman year, right? Like learning from the #1 overall pick and Heisman Trophy winner, going on defense, going on scout team. I got Will Anderson, Dallas Turner, Henry To'oTo'o. I got Kool-Aid on one side. I got Terry on the other side. There's a number of first and second round draft picks that I went against and who I was in the locker room with. So like I said, the Alabama locker room was as close as a locker room in the NFL as you can get.
Okay, I'm listening. I'm hearing you out, Ty. You're making a decent argument. But if that's the case, then free agency needs to be heavy on the offensive line for the Arizona Cardinals. And look, they're in a spot where that could be the case. They actually have a lot of cap space, top 12 in the league right now in cap space for Arizona. All right, if you're not going to do it in the first round of the draft, because this mock draft from ESPN doesn't have them taking a single offensive lineman, you got to load up in free agency then. That would be my case. So if Tai Simpson's going to succeed here in Arizona, the OL needs to be beefed up. So you tell me, Cardinals fans, should they trade up for Ty Simpson? Type D for draft, type P for pass. Get a letter in the comment section down below. I do still think you need an offensive lineman in the first 2 rounds of this draft, but if you're going to get Ty Simpson and David Bailey, then, as I said, free agency needs to be the priority there. And stay tuned. I'm going to have a full 7-round mock draft for the Cardinals coming soon. Let's dive in. Let's get into the nitty-gritty, baby. This is for the diehard fans, so make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already so you don't miss when that video comes and whenever the Cardinals do anything this offseason. I'll have you covered. Appreciate you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next time here on Cardinals Today.